I got $1 million IRA. Now what? That's what we're going to dive in here today, my friends. In a number of videos, we're going to dive into this in terms of financial planning with $1 million IRA, how it relates to Social Security, your tax situation in the future, on top of that, what you're going to leave to your heirs if that's a desire of yours. It'll be interesting to see. So we're going to do a number of videos when it comes to Karen and Ken. We're going to have Karen and Ken as our guinea pigs, so to speak. Start with married, filing jointly, and then later on down the road we'll kill off Ken, so it'll just be Karen. So we'll go into married, filing jointly, and then we'll go into a different model where it's just Karen by herself as a single person. So this should be pretty interesting. We'll probably do, I don't know, 3 or 4 videos comes to just basic financial planning, and then we're going to go into doing Roth conversions as well. And I think you'll get a lot out of this for sure. So stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe down below. And of course, if you do subscribe, you do want to hit that bell to be notified because I do a lot of videos. You want to keep up. So let's dive into this. Let's minimize my mug there. All right. So this is the Right Capital software. All right. So the first thing we're going to show you is we're going to keep this simple, man. All right. Simple, and keep it simple, stupid. And what I mean by that is we're just going to have a simple profile of Karen and Ken. And Karen, let's see, go to family here. So Karen's age 60, all right, and they live, what state they live in? We're going to have them, let's move them to California. We'll put them to California, all right? So we're going to have Karen and Ken in California. Karen is 60 and Ken is 67. All right, so 60 and 67. Now their net worth consists of just 2 things. They got Karen's IRA is $1 million, and she has it all in the Life Strategy Growth Fund. All right, so that's all she's got. And Ken doesn't have anything. And then they got property, their home, $300,000. So that's it. So their total net worth, if we go back to dashboard, their total net worth is $1.3 million, of which we click on detail. Actually, let's go over here, details over here. And we can see they got a joint home at $300,000, and then Karen's IRA. That's it. So the first thing that jumps out of me here, frankly, is that I don't want this to go because I know I'll forget it. Is that if you had one person with significant IRA, you doggone better have a durable power of attorney. It's not debatable. You need a durable power of attorney, and the durable power of attorney should be very clear in when Ken has access to the money. Do you want Ken to have to jump through some hoops, or do you want him to have access right now? I don't know your circumstance, but for me, with my wife, she has access to it right now. She could literally just call USAA and say, hey, this is Charlotte. I got a durable power of attorney on file. Send me a check, and they'll do it. All right, so that's up to Karen and Ken, and it's up to you how you want your significant other to have access to your money. All right, so then we're just going to click on investments, and we just, the Life Strategy Growth Fund is a 80-20 portfolio. We assume a 7.1% annual return, and the reason for that is because we believe stocks will give us about 7.5 going forward. That's international and domestic, probably closer to 7.25. Bonds will give us about 3.5, and if you combine the two, we're getting 7.1. That's before inflation, by the way. All right, so we're just as an FYI, well, let's go to, I'll show you what I'm talking about. As an FYI, we're inflating our expenses at 3% a year. Okay, so our Social Security, we're growing at 2.6, which is what the trustee says, and our inflation, our expenses, we're going at 3. So we're losing steam relative to our income, relative to our expenses in terms of Social Security relative to expenses. Just FYI. So if we got 3% inflation and we're grossing 7.1% returns, you're only getting 4% net. I hope that makes sense. All right. What else do I want to show you here? So we talked about profile. We talked about their house. We got $300,000 house, no debt on it. So nothing fancy. All right. So basically, we'll start the retirement. All right, so basically what we're doing now is let me go back to profile. We're going to go to goals. That's what we want. All right, so basically their retirement expenses, they're going to retire this year. The first year will be in 2020, next year. One of the things about Right Capital that I don't like is they don't use this calendar year. They just go forward 1 year in terms of next year. I wish they did use this partial of this calendar year, but they don't. At the end of the day, that's fine. But so we're going into 2020 is when they're going to retire, if that makes sense. So they're not going to have any income in 2020. So the retirement expenses are $50,000 a year. All right, that's what the retirement expenses are, $50,000 a year. All right, that's all inclusive, by the way. All right, so that's all inclusive. I'm including, where did I do my calculator? So I'm including I'm including Medicare, as you see, no health care. I'm including Medicare. I'm including property tax. I'm just saying at the end of the day, they need $4,100 a month to live on. So $50,000 a year. Oh, there's my calculator. All right. Now, you can take issue with that. That's fine. I frankly don't care because I think that the median household is $60,000, which it is. You subtract your FICA, you subtract your state and local Fed taxes from your employment, and you subtract your 401k contributions. You're basically living on $50,000 a year anyway. So I think a $50,000 a year is a nice round number for a lot of people. A lot of people I've dealt with, I've been in this a long time, are living just fine on $4,000 to $5,000 a month. That's for sure. So you can change as you want. All right, so their income, well, they got none. All right, there's no income at all. All right, so we got nothing, just Social Security, and we're going to show you Karen's. All right, so we got Social Security, we got a PIA 2250, and the reason we have a PIA at 2250 is because that's roughly $60,000 to $70,000 a month as an income stream. Does that make sense? When she was working, she's making roughly $60,000 to $70,000 for an average yearly indexed earnings. So it wasn't making a ton of money, just wasn't. But so that'll equal a PIA of roughly 2250. Nothing fancy, but 2250 times 12, that's what, 27,000 a year. That's all she's getting, all right, for a Social Security. Now I have her initially, I have her in this place starting taking at 70, not her full retirement age. So for Ken, I just have him getting his spousal benefits. So it'll be half of Karen's 2250. So 2250 divided by 2 plus 2250 equals they'll get $33.75 a month in Social Security. Times that by 12, that's $40,000 a year in Social Security. All right. So this will play in a factor when we factor in if you're going single relative to if you're going to married, filing joint, because in this case, they're going to have significantly more Social Security than someone who's single will. All right. Now, but remember, Ken is 67. All right. So we'll go back to Ken is 67, and we're going to have him dying at, family. We will have Ken dying at 80. So we have Ken dying earlier than Karen, simply because he's older and hasn't worked for a while, we'll just say. And we have Karen live until she's 90. All right. So that could play a role in future planning. But we do have Ken dying early and Karen living till 90 years old, which makes sense to me. All right. So that's their goal, is they're going to take Social Security we have a couple different places. We're going to take it at 70 for Karen, and we're going to take it at 66, their full retirement age. Also remember, Ken cannot get his spousal benefit until Karen files, by the way. So that will play a little bit of a role here, but just don't sweat Ken's stuff because he's not really bringing anything to the table financially speaking. He has no assets other than half the home that he owns with Karen, and he's got no income because we'll just say he's been on disability. So the only income he's making is partly from Karen's, his spousal benefit from Karen's work, if that makes sense. All right, so let's go to income. We talked about that. Let's go to savings. They're not saving anything because they're going to quit. Go to expenses. Again, there's just nothing here because their expenses are the $50,000 a year retirement expenses. All right, so the first thing I like to do, I like to look at this right here for tax. And as you can see, not much here. Now, they do live in, I think I said California, yeah, so 1.8. I highly suspect that might not be. Actually, I tell you what, well, let me pause real quick. I highly suspect that might not be the case, that their incomes could be that. But anyway, let's keep going from California. Their tax will be 1.8. And we'll find out here in just a second. I'm going to do a California specific. But then you can see the tax, not much. I mean, it's still below 10%, 10%, 10%. And then all of a sudden, kaboom. Look at that. It goes from roughly 9.5 to 17%. And you want to guess what happened here? Well, guesses. Going once, going twice, going 3 times. Yep, that is the widow's tax trap. Indeed, indeed. So let me pause. I want to see what California is going to be. Actually, but before we do that, let's go to their or go to retirement. Let's see where their income's coming from. Always go to cash flows. So cash flows is here. And we have income is coming from, let's see here. This is at 70. Income inflows, plan distributions, or expenses. So their income is coming from IRA distributions. So they need $50,000 a year from IRA distributions with no Social Security. Let's see what that would look like for a married couple in California. So hang tight. We're going to go look up at the calculator there, and I'll be right back. So I went to SmartAsset.com, and I used their 2018 updates for their on the website for California. They're saying their total state income tax in California would be $667 if we have $50,000 of income. The problem with that is they don't. They reduced. Their calculator before was much better. This is too bad. I'm gonna have to find a new one because this is not nearly as good as what they had last year. But anyway, either way, they're saying California state tax is marginal rate of 4%, effective rate is 1.33, so 677. And I think for Right Capital, we're showing twice that, if not more. Let's take a look here. Taxes right here. I think we're showing. Actually, let's go over here. Bear with me just a second. We're going to show, let's go back to retirement. And let's see what we got here. Cash flows, tax. Yeah, so, a little, not much. They're pretty close. I mean, it's still $400 off, but not as off as I would have thought. All right, so anyway, let's go now. I want to show you something. So this is what I did. I have a spreadsheet I did. Okay, so now we have Karen and Ken retiring at 60 for Karen. Now Ken's older, not taking Social Security until we see 66 years old, their full retirement age, right? So we don't have them taking Social Security until they're 66. And the reason for that is you want Karen to use and Ken to use their married filing jointly, 2 tax deductions that they have for married filing jointly with a lower tax brackets, if that makes sense, or the higher tax brackets. Either way, you pay less when you're married filing jointly than you do when you're a single taxpayer. So right now we want to start pulling money from our IRA sooner rather than later. All right, we do. So because we want to take advantage of the fact that Ken might be not in a great of shape, he might die at 80 years old. We don't know, but we want to start using our married filing jointly tax benefit sooner than later, simply because of the way the tax code is for single people. So here we got them taking Social Security at 66, and again, Karen takes at 66. Ken will get his spousal benefit then. And they'll start getting about $45,000 of Social Security income. Now, we said $40,000 today. Well, we're adjusting it at 2.6 a year for inflation, according to the trustees report. So right now it's roughly $40,000 or so, and then in 5 years or so, it's gonna be about $45,000. I think we said, yeah, that's right. So there's a 2.6. All right. So where's the money? They need $53,000 to live on because that includes their roughly $53,000 to live on because that includes their tax payment. Where does the money come from? Well, it's going to come from their IRA distributions. Does that make sense? All right, so now so they got no income, so they're going to pull it from their IRAs, which can be 100% tax. We fast forward until 2025 when Karen's 66 and at her full retirement age. Now they reduce their IRA distributions quite a bit because they have $45,000 coming from Social Security. So they'll only be pulling $17,000 from their IRA, in which to make up the difference between what they need and what they have from Social Security and their taxes. So we do this, and then we're just going to keep on coming down until Karen dies at 90 years old. And what she'll have done, she'll have paid $708,000 in total taxes, and she'll have paid had $3 million in total expenses. All right, so why does it keep doing that? Total tax, yeah, right there. $3 million in total expenses. So she has $708,000 in taxes, $3 million in expenses. Now, again, that might sound like that's good expenses. Well, none of the expenses are bulk of your taxes. So $3 million from expenses. And we just go equals this minus this. That means her total expenses that she could use for herself were $2.3 million. Her net expenses were $2.3 million. So basically, she lost roughly 25% of taxes. There's no other way around that. So she spent $3 million, of which $700,000 went to taxes. That's a 3-to-1 ratio. All right, now we'll go down to, we'll say, okay, what is the value of her accounts at her death? And if we go here, her total net worth is $3.4 million. All right, so you can see total net worth $3.4 million, which consists of, that's her total value, not her net worth, because we're not including her home. We're just including her liquid net worth, because at this stage, I don't care about the house. Total net worth is $3.4 million, of which consists of 1.7 in a traditional IRA. Let's see, what's this one right here? She still has $41,000 in a 401k, and then she has $1.6 million in her Where did that 401k come from? 1.6 million in her taxable account. Off the top of my head, I can't remember his 401k. Did we have a 401k left for her? Anyway, so either way, she's got roughly 3.5 million once she takes her IRA out, starts pulling out at 60 years old and takes Social Security at 66. You with me so far? So now let's go to no planning. Where again, when I say no planning, that just means they're not doing any Roth planning. And now we're going to take Social Security at 70 instead. So here, let's go down. We keep going that way. Here, as you can see, she's taking Social Security at 70. These planned distributions, by the way, are just required distributions, RMD. So at 70, she's taking Social Security, so she needs all this much money before she hits 70. So from 61 to 70 years old, where's the money come from? Well, it has to come from her IRA distributions. All right, so we're talking 53, 55, 56, 58, 60. You can see it's a significant amount of money that she's got to pull from her IRA. All right, so here we go down, and she has a total withdrawals of 2.78 million, of which 646,000 is from taxes. All right, so now we take this minus that, and her net was 2.13 million is what she and Ken had spent. What was it over here? It was 2.3 million. So here she spent less because she just didn't need as much. Right? She spent less because her taxes were lower. So she spent 2.138 million net after taxes. Now here, how much did she have left in her 401k and her total in her liquid net worth? 3.283 million, of which traditional IRA. I keep doing that. Was 1.43 million, and her taxable account is 1.8. How much did she have again over here? She had 3.4 million. So in this case, taking Social Security at 66 would have increased her net worth, but she had 1.7 million in her traditional IRA. Here she has 1.4 million in her traditional IRA. Here she has 1.83 million in her brokerage account. Here she had 1.66 million. It's pretty much a wash there, my friends, because you got to factor the taxes that are going to be due on this. 1.7 million relative to the tax going to be due on that. And so at the end of the day, it's pretty much a wash. She has 3.283 million as a liquid net worth when she dies. One having taken Social Security at 66, the other having taken it at 70 years old, if that makes sense. Maybe the next one I'll do when she takes Social Security at 62, just to see. It'd be kind of interesting. But either way, she pays a lot of taxes, 640 to 6,000 here when she starts taking Social Security at 70, and she pays 708 here, so another 60,000 in taxes when she took Social Security at 66. She pays more taxes. Simple reason, because she has more when Ken dies. And that means she has more as a single taxpayer as opposed to married filing joint. All right, so stay tuned. We got a lot more to go on this. Hope this makes sense. It'll be interesting to see where it shake out. So stay tuned, and I'll put a link in the show notes to follow for the next episode here. All right, thanks.